Hello. Sincere apologies for that technical difficulty. We had just a little technical difficulty, but now I think we should be able to go on. And so, sincere apologies to all those that have missed out. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to just share this to your platforms, and then we can get started. Okay. Yeah, that was a slight technical problem regarding the Lungu eligibility issue. And so I have just shared with you the link by which you can connect to chat. So this is where I do a little bit of mic check to find out whether you are getting me all right or not. Okay. I do have the Danny Pulekes with me. I do have the Danny Pulekes with me here today. This is the Danny Pulekes. You can download it from the judiciary website. So it's in the judiciary website. So you can just go to the judiciary website and then look for the Danny Pulekes. You can search for it and you can read it for yourself. So this is the select judgment number 60 of 2018. Okay, so that's the decision. Now it's very lengthy. It's several pages. It's about 84 pages, and so for these 84 pages, you can download and read. Much of it is very dry legal reading, but here is the thing: if citizens in Zambia want to know a little bit more about the law and how this all works, you either must read or, you cannot just depend on other people interpreting these things for you. And so what I want to try to do today is answer some of the questions. Okay, I want to try to answer some of the questions that you might be having about what I said about this decision. Again, it's very important for us to make a distinction. This is not my opinion. So it is not me as Elias Munsha, as Munsha wa Munsha, saying that President Lungu is eligible. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there is a decision from the Constitutional Court that makes Lungu eligible. That is all I'm saying. So it's quite unfair for some of our friends to come all with their guns blazing on me, accusing me that I am trying to make Lungu eligible. It is not me that is making Lungu eligible. It is a decision of the Constitutional Court. When I said what I said, I said it's the decision of the Constitutional Court that has made President Lungu eligible to stand in 2021. All right. Now, I'm not a politician. So for those that would rather think that I'm a politician or I'm aligned to a particular political party, I'm not aligned to any political party. The only thing that I know is the Patriotic Front government has really destroyed our country. Okay. They are a bunch of kelenkas. And so the only thing I'm doing is asking the people of Zambia to vote them out at the elections next year. That is what I've been saying. And I have not hidden my disdain for the Patriotic Front as a party, as a corrupt party, a party of thieves, a party of people that have no vision and no desire to see our country develop. That is what I've always been about, right? So when it comes to this decision, the question was, is President Lungu eligible right now as a matter of law in Zambia today? Okay, is President Lungu eligible to stand next year? And the answer is yes. As a matter of law in Zambia today, President Lungu is eligible to stand because of this Danipule decision. Right? So it is saying that President Lungu is eligible to stand, tantamount to supporting him. No, I'm not supporting President Lungu. All I am saying is that the decision from the Constitutional Court has said that he's eligible to stand next year. That is not to say, therefore, I'm supporting him for president. We need to begin creating these distinctions. This idea that we're just going to be reacting to people without ever engaging with their ideas is very unfair. Okay, so is President Lungu likely to be a candidate next year? Most likely. Does Zambian law stop him from standing? No, Zambian law does not stop him from standing. Right? So, for some of my friends who are thinking that in order for them to resolve this issue, Lungu must not stand, I sympathize with you, and that would be my position. But that position has been superseded by the law. And what is law currently is this guiding a precedent from the Constitutional Court. This decision is known as the Dani Pule case. This is what is governing at the moment. This is what is governing Zambian law at the moment. It's governing Zambian law in the sense that it is a decision that is now governing Zambian law as far as President Lungu's eligibility to contest 2021. Now, that is not to say that then I'm asking you to vote for President Lungu. I'm not asking you to vote for President Lungu. I'm asking you to vote for someone else. And the whole reason why I'm saying this is simple. And I've said it, right? The reason why we are fighting against Bill 10, fellow citizens, is because once Bill 10 passes, it's going to become law in Zambia. Even for me who disagrees with Bill 10, once Bill 10 becomes law, then it becomes law. That is the reason why we are fighting to see that Parliament does not pass it. But once it is passed, then the Patriotic Front government will be able to avail themselves to the benefits of that bill. Now, if Bill 10 were to pass, and then I come and tell you that because it has passed, then it is law, it does not mean that therefore I supported Bill 10. I have never supported Bill 10. Bill 10 should not be supported. That's my position. That's why I am opposed with every ounce of my body, ounce of my blood. I am opposed to Bill 10 so that it does not become law. Okay? That is what is happening. All right. So this is the guiding decision at the moment. It's the Dani Pule case. Download it, read it, and see what it pronounces itself on President Lungu. Okay. So, do you have any questions? So, do you have any questions that you would like me to answer? Kingsley, to London Fimbi, we are tired about the Dani Pule issue because it will not bring food on the table. Okay, that's granted. Lawyers are sure. Teddy, why do you think that's a problem? Gabriel Kandusa, read the ruling again. The court didn't say that. The focus was term of office and nothing regarding son twice. Gabriel Kandusa, that's exactly what this decision deals with. Now, I'm not going to try and go into all those distinctions that some learned lawyers in Zambia are making between the term of office and being sworn twice. I don't think it is helpful. This is why I'm saying that the Lungu eligibility case and issue is a distraction. It's a distraction because it's going to be to deceive the opposition. Because some opposition parties might begin thinking and planning that Lungu is not standing, right? Because they could be misled. I'm not saying that they're being misled. They could be misled by a very novel interpretation of the law. This is the danger that we have in Zambia. Novel interpretation. There is no court in Zambia that can disqualify Hichilema or disqualify Lungu based on a technicality. You need to get this right. There is no judge in Zambia that for 2021 that is going to disqualify Hichilema today, or that is going to disqualify Lungu. And so I am pragmatic. What I ask for the politicians is to concentrate on things so that they are not distracted. One of the reasons why the petition failed in 2016, one of the reasons was that the opposition party started pursuing new areas of law that were too complicated even for the judges. What happened? The petition was never heard. They were raising very novel principles that ended up confusing the judges themselves. I am a pragmatic practitioner, very pragmatic. And it is my pragmatism that is advocating the issue of eligibility is a distraction. It distracts the people of Zambia from concentrating on the real strategy that can defeat this thieving government. Because you have to be naive to believe that a constitutional court that ruled the way it ruled in the Danny Pule case is going to eventually, months before the 2021 elections, it's going to disqualify Lungu. You've got to be naive to think like that. That is what I'm about. That is the kind of thing that I'm trying to help. Now, if the opposition party refuse the opposition parties refuse the kind of advice I'm giving, that's fine. Let them go ahead and try to sue Lungu a few months before the elections, whether there is any judge that can stop him from standing. You've got to be pragmatic. That's all you have to do. You know? Teine kandande na muchaushi. Iridi ashiriako bati Lungu emini nem 2021. Teine iyo. Ni constitutional court. Iachitire rule. Inecho ndela ndakofye chako ebati ba opposition ba ipekanie epela. If you kuchita concentrate patuma arguments tumoto are very new in order to disqualify Lungu, tafyaka bombe iyo. Necho tafyaka bombe nicho. Takuli judge Muzambia ukalesha Hichilema kweminina. Fyonse vivyo mule mona tiyo kutuba mulesha Hichilema. Tapali judge Muzambia wate momutende. Chita stop Hichilema. One. Secondly, tapali judge Muzambia chita stop Lungu kweminina. Not in view of this decision. So now, why should you be spending your limited resources concentrating on very novel arguments of the law? A distinction between term of office and so on in twice. You think that those arguments are very good for a classroom. We call them academic arguments. These are the kind of arguments that you take to law students because you're trying to interrogate what this meant, what the other thing meant. When it comes to the rulings and the governing law, you go to what is the guiding precedent. This is the guiding precedent. And for you to believe Okobat Constitutional Court, to disregard this decision in order to agree with you to disqualify Lungu is almost impossible. This is what I'm trying to say. If you're therefore kumiebako, namba mwebenga mwaka na tsamulefo kumfwa nijinivyo feel. Keti mipatikishe. Mukatu very, very complicated novel arguments to the Constitutional Court to disqualify Lungu. You think that is going to work? Eicho kanshi pakuchita engage lawyer. Kuchita engage lawyer owa kwata fia mano bwino. Gamwachita engage lawyer owa mano owa fi mano sana. Akachita confuse ama judges. Ebo afya buli mwaba. Ukuya muku chita argue ama judges and creating distinctions ayo, Constitutional Court in this decision says there is no distinction. So, this Constitutional Court, Yalando Kwebati, the 2015 and 2016 term of office that is what this decision says. Iliya term of office yachitike in 2015 and 2016 that is the ruling of the Constitutional Court. It is not my ruling. That is what the Constitutional Court said. Okwebati tabaka pendereko yo the 2015-2016 iliya term it cannot be counted when imputing terms of office. This is what the Danipule case says. It is not me. Now, you want to go back to court. Nokuya bate iyo mkwaifira mwala ndireta mwakapendereko mwali lufyania eicho kanshi muchitendi disqualify Lungu. And you think that can work? At you're going to go on this issue from a different perspective. Error number, you can cause the Constitutional Court to reverse itself in the Danipule case. This is that lawyers are sure. I'm just very pragmatic and practical. That's very important. Legal arguments, you leave them for articles, you leave them for dissertations, you leave them for academic arguments. You can continue arguing. When it comes to what is currently obtaining, you go to the law. What is the governing precedent at the moment? This is the governing precedent. If, as some of my friends are doing, some of the lawyers, what they are doing, but this is not a governing precedent. What kind of confusion is that? Governing precedent. This is the governing precedent. It's coming from the Constitutional Court. On Lungu's eligibility. It's there on my website. It's there on my blog. I have explained what was my opinion. But my arguments were not adopted by the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court refused the arguments that we were giving. Instead, what they ruled, okay, is 2015-2016, it's not going to be computed as a term when computing terms of office. That's what the Constitutional Court said. What I'm saying is there is no time here for you to think that you come up with new arguments that are going to disqualify Edgar Lungu to stand as a presidential candidate next year. Okay, bane. Ukuchiroko watu tuletarika nefintu fishile panga sense. Aleni, kabia ni kukot, muka mochite disqualify, muka monenga fikabo. But it is true. If yalandire ba John Sangwa, so tachifure chamoneka wana kalimwene nderwisha ba John Sangwa iyo. Mashu ba John Sangwa barana. Ero if yalanda ba John Sangwa na ine win if yo na landa before takulabe decision. In fact, ba John Sangwa bene Bushebadi niba lawyer. He was a party. He was for the first interested party, which is the Law Association of Zambia. But John Sangwa was a person, was part of the lawyers that were in this Danipule case. The very arguments, he argued the same arguments before the Constitutional Court. Unfortunately, we lost. Constitutional Court yali tayasuminisha ife tuwale beba ife tuwale chitaya kifako batawe Lungu ali disqualified mwe musuminisha yo. Constitutional Court disagreed. After yachita disagree, elo numba yachita issue hii decision. Numba inecho ndela ndako chakobati e decision efundeli dipwedi ili yakoba Lungu kutaimini. Nomba why ukuntuka inkombe tayikata pachinena inendi inkombe fie te inena pangire i decision yo. Nomba kwamba ukuntukira mwati yo mkwa ipantu munshani wewe alando kwe wachane inente inende mlenga Lungu kwiminina te ine. If I had my own way ganarandira ati yo mkwa inabafumepo ngale nabafiwo okuteka efyo namieba balungu bafiwo okuteka nomba ifyo tefu mufini nokulanda okobati yo tetibemini nomulando wakobati ifunde lyali bakanya ifunde mu Zambia ifyo lili pali ndaka yi taliamukanya Lungu kwiminina mu 2021. Fwewero parefu okobati afumepo na tuichite mobilize tuchite encourage abena Zambia okobati bakamufumyepo. Can you quote specifics from that judgment which says, this judgment says that the 2015 to 2016 term of office will not be counted when computing terms of office. Urefu amberenge. My. Nelson Lungu atibarefu amberenge. Iyo Nelson Lungu kachite download the decision. Uiberengere weka. This is 84 pages. Tuna berenga shani file 84. Okay, page 81. Our firm view is that it could not have been the intention of the legislature to not provide for the period that was served and straddled two constitutional regimes as to how it should be treated. Nelson Lungu. This is so because, as stated above, a holistic consideration of the relevant provisions in this case will clearly show that the intention is to allow or enable a person who assumes the office of president to complete the unexpired period of the term of another president to serve a substantial part of the 5-year term of office in order for that term to count as a full term pursuant to Article 106(6) of the Constitution as amended. It follows that the sub-articles in Article 106 cannot be isolated from each other in interpreting the article. As we have already stated above, an interpretation of a constitutional provision that isolates the provision touching on the same subject is faulty. Therefore, to state that Article 106 applies to the term that straddled two constitutional regimes, but that Article 106(6) does not, is to isolate Article 106(3) from the rest of the provision in Article 106, which is untenable at law, and is at variance with the tenets of constitutional interpretation, as all the provisions of the tenure of office of the president must be read together. We are of the considered view that the provision regarding the full term must be applied, defining what is meant by twice held office under Article 106(3) in interpreting the provisions of that article. It therefore follows that in the current case, the term served, which sits astride the pre- and post-2016 constitutional amendments, and having looked at the intention of the legislature, as we have done, and the holistic approach we have taken in interpreting Article 106 of the Constitution in its entirety, our answer to the question that we have rephrased is that the presidential term of office that ran from 25 January 2015 to 13 September 2016 and straddled two constitutional regimes cannot be considered as a full term. That is the decision of this court. It cannot be regarded as a full term. That is the decision of this court. Now, here's where the problem is. Somebody is going to say that they are very clever. Now, never ever think that you are much more clever than judges. That's very important. Now, I have disagreed with judges myself, and my disagreements have already been, I've written on them. But my disagreements with the judges are not law. What a judge says becomes law, not what I say, no matter how clever you think you are. So this is what these judges have said, that it cannot be considered as a full term. Now, you want to go back and begin splitting hair between son twice and whatever, and think that this court is going to reverse itself. This is where I'm saying, be pragmatic and practical. Right? Be as pragmatic as possible. I think we were supposed to put it in a local language. No, Emmanuel Sewale, tapadi filubenia payo, tapadi confusion. This is the problem I have. Tapadi confusion as far as what the current law is. They are not being sincere. I'm sorry. There is no confusion here. The question that we were supposed to be asking is this. It's a very simple question. Bushe, kulioku teka Lungu atekele from 2015 to 2016. Bushe. Ni term of office. yakuba kiteetateeka emikwa ebiri was it a term a question mufuna okwasuka constitutional court yali yasukako bati lya tatwakapendereko teetimupendereko efyo constitutional court yalandire nomba efyo shiri clear but if pafyo constitutional court yalandire nifinshi ine bantu nimpapa okay nifinshi if shiri clear pafyo constitutional court yalandire if your constitutional court irelanda kuti wafikanya hayi kuti wakana you know you go over you throw a tantrum ukufikana sana ifine njira evifuaya you wakana nokulya ngobere ine vinjira evifuaya shani but that is part of our democracy kuti watch the fine nombogolando ko that constitutional court taile clear is being insincere, it's being dishonest. I cannot participate in such a thing. Okay, I can't. If you kupanga confusion ukweba the Constitutional Court has not pronounced itself on this subject, no, I can't participate in it. Okay, of course, umuntu ngachita haya to go and make an argument in court, I would definitely go. Kuyachita argue sana but no, my judges, this is what you, if you mwana did anything, but that's what I'm paid for to do. Now, however, when you read this decision, it's clear. In Efyondeland, a decision is clear. Lungu, according to this decision, according to this decision, if your term batch to receive between 2015 and 2016, it's not a term. Number muisa mukutuletere fifyonse ukutuitire mpepo over terms, useless terms, useless terms. Useless terms like sworn twice into office and serving a term of office apopena aponempika yaima. The same arguments that we took to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court rejected it. Munshasa, what is Lungu saying by virtue of him being a lawyer? I don't know. It's subject to interpretations. No, please, excuse me. There are some things that are subject to interpretations. And this idea that the law is somewhat uncertain, I don't agree with it, okay? Whoever is saying that the law could be uncertain in some of the things, but it's definitely certain as far as this question is concerned. It's been clarified. It's there in this decision, the term of office that started in January 2015 to 2016. It's not a full term. This and this decision is 84 pages. Nama arguments ayo ifotwale for Constitutional Court is so many. Yari chita review. No go yachita reject. Ero number muise munje but it's not clear. What is not clear here? If you disagree with this decision, kulanda fiata I disagree. Gefyo ine na chita disagree. Ine na chita disagree with this decision. No, my disagreement does not become law. What is guiding is this decision. So as far as Lungu is concerned, this is the decision that is going to be guiding. The question that some are asking, this decision was not addressed to President Lungu. Honestly, I find that extremely problematic. And if there is any lawyer who thinks like that, I have a problem with you. Okay? I have a problem with you. The reason is, usually the Constitutional Court sometimes has to interpret questions of a general nature, right? That term from 2015 to 2016 is not a term. Number eyote kulolela ati yo mkwai ufure wabwekerako wero waya ipshati ushe Lungu, does this apply to Lungu? No. The Constitutional Court has given the guidance, and so you work from that guidance. So it's the guidance of this ruling that says that yes, Lungu can stand in 2021 as a guidance from where? From this decision. You don't have to have a specific declaration of whether the Lungu, Edgar Lungu is eligible to stand. No. No one in Zambia requires an explicit declaration from the Constitutional Court that they can stand. No one. Not even President Hichilema requires a declaration from the Constitutional Court that is eligible to stand. No. Edgar Sema, Council, kindly harmonize this provision with the Concord judgment. Again, Edgar, all the arguments that you are going to make between hold of office and everything else has now been superseded by the interpretation that we get from the Constitutional Court. In other words, the law still remains as it is in the Constitution. The decision from the court is trying to clarify whether that term of office that existed between 2015 and 2016, that term of office, is it a full term for imputing presidential term limits? Is it a full term? The court says that idia ruling yaliko kuliokuteka namanone Lungu achitire amanone from 2015 to 2016, that particular time Constitutional Court yalandoko bati idia time idia tamwapendereko. Now, it is not saying that the Constitution is irrelevant. It is not saying that all those provisions are irrelevant. No. The court was called to answer the question of whether that particular term is constituted as a term. That was the question that the Constitutional Court was answering. And it said, no. George Mwapa, you are misleading people of Kada. Oh, me? I'm misleading. Well, yeah. The problem is Lungu himself, because he signed this constitution without reading it. I think so. I think so if he wins again in 2021, so he's going to rule for how many years, since the law says one can only serve 2 terms? Cosmas Tigor, actually, the law does not say that one can only rule for 10 years. That's not what the law says. That's not what the Constitution says. Under our Constitution, actually, it's possible for someone to rule for 12 years. That's the Constitution, okay? Yeah, so the current Zambian Constitution, as it's possible for somebody to rule for about 13 years. Yeah, because if you take on a term of office that is less than 3 years, the Constitution says that is not going to be imputed as a term of office. Okay, for term limits. That's what the Constitution says. Michael Njovu, does Lungu qualify or not? What do you mean, does Lungu qualify or not? This decision says it does. For 2021, this decision says it does. Kanika Kamwala Simwanza, article shall hold office. A person who was held twice is not eligible for election as president. So what are you answering? So you have that article, and then you have this decision that specifically addresses itself to 2015 to 2016, which says that that term of office is not a term. Gifting Gomba, the question was changed and it's not for Lungu. Munsha, you are a useless lawyer. That's okay. I've been called worse names. Okay. There is this argument that the question was changed. Now, I need to be very, very clear, Gifting Gomba. And you see, no politician pays me, and no lawyer pays me. Okay, I have a small company here that I operate. Now I need to answer this question where the people are saying that the Constitutional Court judges answered the wrong question. This is very pathetic. Okay, it's extremely pathetic. It's extremely pathetic for a lawyer to, in fact, say something like this. This is the reason. One, oyo wine lawyer mulela ndokwe bati the Constitutional Court answered the wrong question, was part of the lawyers that were in this case. This decision was issued on December 7, 2018. If you are a lawyer representing a party, elo nomba Constitutional Court yasachita answer a question iyo tamuyipuishe kuti wabwekela mo. Wabwekela mo auti before ink tailachitana dry, before imumwema judges not mona namusai na mwema judges bali banga kachinga ni bali banga aba eba chisiresai kuti wabwekela mo ati question mwasuka teyo twayipuishe nomba webo taubwekeremo mukubepsha ma judges elo nomba 2 or 3 years later waisa nefisungu waisa mukuchita complicated thing if it is straightforward nga walikuisa John said. Walikui? If you are saying that they answered the wrong question, walikuisa all this time. Nish, can we see any submission iyo watu were kuma judges ukuyabeba mwasuka a wrong question? I'm quite passionate about what I do. I'm fighting. I want to fight corruption in Zambia, and the Patriotic Front government is a useless, corrupt party. But responsibility is for every one of us to be reasonable. You know what I mean? So that we begin channeling our resources to kicking out these thieves and not making arguments. They are not helping us. Is it possible for judges to answer a wrong question? It's possible. They do it every day. Judges answer wrong questions every day. In fact, I'm a judges remote. But I'm on iwe. Whether this color was gray. I think the question that you are actually asking is what number is this color or something like that. They do it every day. Nombabene abachitire raise the issue. I'm a petitioners. Ba Danny Pule, ba Wright Musoma, ba Peter Chanda, na ba Robert Mwanza. And then when they received this decision, they went on off, dancing and singing, celebrating Ukwebati, Baba Pela decision. So you see, that is the thing. Nomba mwebantu sometimes tuleva misled by Katwish. Because we are coming to the law with sectarian interests most of the times. That's why I'm independent. I'm not UPND. I know some of you are PF. Manakwata am UPND. Na mwewa UPND. Manakwata in the PF. I'm not. I'm an independent observer. That is my role. Completely independent. The judges answered the wrong question in this decision, and that's why we need to undermine this decision. I'm not going to agree with that. No. Walikuisa. The issue 5 years later, is it 3 years later? Elo number wako support yom why they answered the wrong question. Biyonseri walikui. Ninsta why a day after they issued this decision, why have ever to much answer wrong question. Number, when we are beginning to focus on removing this corrupt government, so that we are distracted. We are distracted. And before we know it, we are dividing our attention to useless things that we do not need to. Christian Musenga, I think from my little knowledge, the Constitution is a document that can have different interpretations. Excuse me. What you are saying is heresy. Okay? I don't know where you get this theory from, where you say that no, everything can have different interpretations. The Constitution is not different. Okay? That's why communication is important, because misunderstandings can rise at any time. It's part of human life. Okay. Now, when you have issues with interpreting a constitution. Now, remember, the issue with 2021 is never about interpreting the constitution. It's about finding out whether a term of office between 2015 and 2016 is a term or not. For the purposes of computing presidential term limits, that is the question. It can go either way. At the moment, what the judges have said is that term of office 2015 to 2016, that is the decision. It's very clear. What is unclear about that? What is unclear about that? I don't understand. What is unclear? Bambalando kwati ndalanda kwati ndeyimba nangu nderira. Awo efyo naba. Mwana wasa na enanga areranda filefina areranda na ichirema ayi bate faranda na balungu na bena baranda kwana kalimo na bakolwa nangu wadi naba nwarutuku efe baranda chamuntu wali kwa tomu ine faranda so so respect how everyone speaks. So number if you are going to mwalete more confusion I disagree with it. Alabani if feel clear. If she clear and feel clear, let's work together to defeat the PF government, because if we give them another term in office, they'll sell everything. Nazambia wala ishtisha. Niwakerenga. So let's work together to defeat them. But if you kuchita kulaleta arguments that are neither here nor there, it's a waste of time. You're bringing out right issues. Thanks for being an independent. I am quite Bishop Sinkala. I'm an independent observer. If you're, but on whether the PF is a good party, I've already said it. I'm not independent there. They are bad, extremely bad. Gifting on, hey, if your constitutional court tabaka pendereko. Nomba abalande tabaka pendereko. Elo imumu ko support yo mkwai imwe naba mieba kalati tabaka pendereko. So what is the issue there? Na balanda kalati tabaka pendereko. So imumu ba kweta arguments ko wa penderako. It's very powerful academic arguments. And I encourage you kulema dissertations on those topics. You know? If you are a law student and you are considering a dissertation topic, there is your topic. Kuyalemba ukuchita critique this decision. Okulando koba this decision was wrong. You know, it's good for academic reflection. Other than that, pragmatically, bari randa kalokova to at Lungu kutaiminina. Chanda Lungu kutawina. No, Lungu kutaiminina. What does it mean to hold office twice? That is irrelevant. Why are you? This is the question. Why are you concentrating on held office twice? Okay, held office twice. Constitutional Court, regardless of how you interpret held office twice, I don't care about that. What I care about is the decision yako tirandiro kwebati kuliokuteka from 2015 to 2016. It's not hold office. It's not a presidential term. So it does not matter how you interpreting the hold office twice. So that is irrelevant. That's an irrelevant question. Court na inieba kalati filiata to akapendereko. Fionse filia tafia kapete mwira pendera ko filia. Ero nomba mwaisa mkunje batawe mwe kote nangu mwatwebera tuikapenderako. Since ulio muntu bali muchita swear in turefu amupendereko. Does that make sense? Mwanyawalia, Gabriel Kandusa, he has exposed himself that he's not. Sorry, Daniel. Gifting Omba, you are misleading people on the judgment. Even the judges in that can't understand you. What? What are you talking about? Okay, so this is the kind of is there anyone dialing in? Utumashi wipano. This is the link. I'm just sharing with you the link. There it is. Emmanuel Siwale. So you mean if the court believes 1 + 1 = 0, then you will believe? That's actually what courts exist for. You know what I mean? So let's assume, I think I'll turn this into a legal discussion on legal philosophy. So let's assume that you take a question to the Constitutional Court to resolve a constitutional problem of 1 + 1. And the Constitutional Court comes back and says 1 + 1 = 0. All right. So there are two things that you need to understand about the law. There is what is known as fact, okay? And there is something that is known as legal, okay? So a legal truth does not need to be factual. Very important. All right? So something can be factually true, but it's not legally true. So if, for example, the issue is 1 + 1, 1 + 1 = 2, that's a fact. But if there is a legal problem which requires a legal solution where 1 + 1 becomes 0, then legally 1 + 1 is going to become 0, whereas factually 1 + 1 is equal to 2. I don't know whether that helps or not. So fact and law sometimes are not the same. All right? Can I give you another example about fact and law? Okay. Let's take with what is known as a statutory rep. Do you know what statutory rep is? So statutory rep is what the law says about a person having sex with a minor. Okay, so if a person has sex with somebody who is 15 years old in Zambia, if you are having sex with a person who is 15 years old, even if she factually consents to sex, a 15-year-old cannot legally consent to sex. So even if you have the fact of consent, you don't have the legal truth of consent. That's why they call it statutory rep. In other words, you have raped a person not because they did not want sex, but because the law says they cannot want sex. You understand that? That is how legal fact and that is how something that is factually true can be inconsistent with something that is legally true. Here's another thing. You catch a thief, okay? Imweba gift ngomba. Mwasasanga omuntu munganda mumyeno aingira. Wamsanga naiba. Wamsanga nefintu ifyove, na fridge yove, munganda mumove, nasenda na fridge. Okay? Legally, nangu, even if factually you've caught him with your things, factually, legally, that person is innocent of theft. In other words, legally, he is innocent. Factually, okay? So that is where some issues are. So now what is governing the law right now is this decision. So can you disagree with this decision? Yes. And if you want to disagree with this decision, please do so. Number, if you are going to yom kwai decision entirely clear. Na akana. Now.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening. Later Nidiash. I'm teacher.
Thank you very much. I think the problem that we have is that there are a lot of Facebook lawyers that do not want to read and just take a statements of coming from other lawyers and taking them as the gospel truth. Firstly, people need to understand that when the Constitutional Court makes a ruling, they have made the ruling, regardless of how you translate or interpret a section of the Constitution. It's a ruling that comes from the Constitutional Court. And to say that then he's not eligible and start meddling in that affair, that they've already cleaned him. Like you said, we can disagree with it academically, but they've already cleaned him to say he's eligible to contest. I think the focus now must be to mobilize the grassroots and win the elections. I think all these conversations about eligibility are just distracting us from the real goal. And also, I don't like this thing of people saying you belong to a particular... There are arguments going on in the comments right now to say you belong to a particular political party simply because you hold a different view on a different day. I think people need to learn to start reading more than they actually do, beyond listening to what people say on Facebook and on media.
Yeah. Thank you now. Much appreciated. Muvemba wakumawa. Amutishani.
Muvemba wakumawa. Chungulo mkwai wa munja.
Mkwai. Amutishani.
Kwenye cho dingalanda pocha kwebo kwewati, as it stands right now, Constitutional Court yapangwa na abantu aba bamukwati imwe na ine. And those people, they are capable of making errors. But we know that courts in Zambia are so incompetent. Most of the decisions that these courts have made is not in good taste for us Zambians. It is for their own benefit and for what they want to achieve. So what I'm appealing to Zambians is that despite the court ruling, although they did not come out openly to rule whether the Lungu is eligible or not, but at this time, we don't care. Actually, me, I want to see Lungu on a ballot so that it can be balanced. Because we are not happy the way things are moving. Okay? So whoever will be on the ballot, as long as he stands on a PF ticket, we are ready to face that person. Whether they are going to go to search for that person from Peru to Lupita, name them. Let that person come. As long as it is on a PF ticket, we are going to show that person a lesson. And for me, Mr. Lungu is the weakest candidate of all of them. So my appeal goes to my fellow youths. Let us work together regardless of our political affiliation, because we have a future to protect.
I agree.
We only have one country. So we have to do whatever it takes to ensure that power returns to the people. Government
now for Bamubemba. Others have very got a kumalawa. But Mubemba, I get you exactly, and I agree with you. The time to mobilize is now. Let us not even be distracted by all these things, because that's all. No, I agree. I agree with you. There is a question here. Brian Impande, Mr. Musha, there is no argument as to what constitutes a term. Just out of curiosity, are you admitted to the bar? Yes, I'm admitted to the bar. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Now the judges gave a ruling. They already applied their minds to the case. Now a junior study, exactly. You mean interpreted it, Mwelwa Makongo? You mean State Council interpreted it wrongly? I don't know. What do you mean by interpreting it wrongly? Whether State Council. I'm not discussing State Council Sangwa. I'm discussing this decision from the court of from the Constitutional Court, where State Council Sangwa was part of the lawyers who represented the first interested party. So I don't know. Did he interpret what wrongly? Katwishi, Ishiranda Pali was State Council Sangwa. Ndera ndapali decision. Iyo ba Sangwa bene, badi as one of the lawyers, this decision. You can download it. It's known as the Danny Pule case. So you could panga kona kalimo ine nderuishanya na basangwa awe nshirerwishanya na basangwa yo. Icho ndela ndachako bate kuli decision from the Constitutional Court. Iyo basangwa nabo bene bachitemo participate. Emo bali. Ine nshadiko. Mwira mbepesha noku mbepesha mwinshinga amala ya mbushi. I'm innocent, completely innocent. Nshadiko. my opinions naliyalembele on my blog eliasmusho.org kuti mwayayasanga ine naba Michael Chishalaba nandi twalire mboko batawe Lungu does not qualify a position twako ite nomba okukuli court decision tatwaliko ine nshaliko abaliko nibasangwa nabazimba nabalikipo naba Mutare baskota Malipenga babwalya balungu bajere bakalaluka abanandi bakalalu Mwansa Simachela Tiku Shamabobo ema lawyers ba the constitutional court ema lawyers ba inenshaliko inechondela ndave chako bate after decision yaba rendered ero nabelenga decision ero nishinabelengele decision I was extremely disappointed. Jebere, why didn't these judges read my article? Jebere, because my article was very wonderful. Because nari filondolo la fiancé about twice holding office. Muye mberenge. Nari filondolo loko filondolo la bueno na tantika. Yoko ena nari tantika. Antonanda kuanshika. Nari yanshika my reasons. And I think my reasons that were very similar. Nomba constitutional court yali yakana. Abatawe tuwasuminisha nefe mulelanda lero ila temu ilia ya 2015-2016 tatuwapendereko nomba after batch the issue decision nomba tuambe kokula afikosha nokula panga impression kwa bati yom kwai kuli fishiri clear nge finshi fishiri clear ination day ipusha chako bati mweba kala chalo mwema Zambians fellow Zambians this issue has been decided. Let's move on to do things that are going to defeat this government. Epela ba Musenga amutishan ba Christian Musenga Christian Musenga, are you there?
Yeah, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Are you able to get me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. I think I now understand your line of thought.
Mkwai, thank you. Patrick Malunga, Mulet Poshan, ba Malunga. Patrick Malunga. Okay, I think we've lost him. So Gabriel Kandusa. Yeah, I'm wondering. We can't keep repeating the same things. James Chantemba, is the decision made by Concord final in this regard? Yes, it is final. Are you in support of the Concord court also? I'm in support of the Constitutional Court of Zambia. Yeah. Yeah. Are they, it's a new court. Sometimes they decide things, if you're confused. We've critiqued them here and there, but it's a new court. I think with the right politicians in power, I think we can appoint better judges, maybe. But I'm in support of our Constitutional Court. I disagree with some of the things they say and do, but I like them. Yeah. Yeah. Was this decision decided rightly? In my opinion, no. Yeah. I don't think Lungu should have qualified because that term should be counted as a term. That's what I think. Yeah. Now, is my opinion law? No, it's not. What is law? This is law. So what should we do about it? Lungu is standing next year. Let's mobilize against him and let's make Zambia do well. Yeah. And also Mfune, I've read the judgment and I agree. Worry is that people seems to have a position of hearsay. Yeah, maybe, and I don't know. But he had decision 84. Go and read it. Go and read it. Bright Sinkamba, Mlet Poshan. Edwin Soko, Naimo, what you're talking about is otios. Sungu, otios. Otiosi alichita confuse ichalo. Na iwo ayamukubwekesha poku ikompiete Otiosi. Kwati ninsere hayi muntu kwati ali kutukata Otiosi. I think Otiosi ninsere mchivemba. Otiosi. You have read the judgment. Have you also read Article 106? Try to marry those two and make sense. What are you talking about? 106 is clear. So 106 is 106 a problem? What's the problem with 106? Throw around articles. If you read 106, blah blah blah. I mean, throwing around things. Sunduzwayo Piri, you are a very intelligent man. Mwandi. PF they'll call me intelligent there. Mairo vakantuka. UPND they'll say intelligent there. Mairo vantuka. It's very difficult. To be objective, it's very hard. Mbefe politician, because when you are a politician, you already have a view. Something that is in your advantage. Because if I were a politician, I would have just continued to insist to cover that Lungu is not eligible. For what end? Number, I'm neutral. These are thieves, they are stealing, shan. Even that one I'm very sure. I'm extremely positive of what these people are stealing. They are thieves. Go of miapo to make a povandi. Are the SEC guys using legal maths or factual law? No, that was just an example I was giving Naimwe. All right. Bright, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Mosha. Good evening.
Mr.
Mr. Mosha, I'm enjoying the way you're explaining things.
Yeah.
But
Are you studying law?
Here. I want to ask a very simple question.
Yeah.
Let's look at Mr. Lungu ascending to power in 2015.
Yeah.
Under which constitution should we use to interpret his ascendance to power, to holding office?
1996, in my opinion.
1996.
Yeah.
And if you're still arguing to say Mr. Lungu is eligible or not.
I'm not arguing.
No, you are speaking very straight and I understand. Because I believe in the Zambian democratic dispensation and the issue of constitutionalism.
Yeah.
The vacancy that was created by the natural disaster of death, His Excellency Michael Chiruchasata, Mr. Lungu came in. If Mr. Lungu never came, if Mr. Lungu dissolved the parliament, if he was a president, would have to say, Mr. Lungu is still eligible. But now, if the presidency institution is attached to the life of parliament, I think Mr. Lungu does not qualify to hold office in 2021.
Okay.
Because the life of presidency and the parliament, they are one and the same. So if he's arguing that he did not hold the office, then what did he do?
Now, those are extremely powerful arguments. But the Constitutional Court says that term from 2015 to 2016 is not a term. Right?
Miscarriage of justice, eh?
So we can call it many things. So we can call it miscarriage of justice, but what we cannot call it is that there is no clarity in the law. There is total clarity. And the Constitutional Court has ruled that the term that he served is not a term. So we move on from there. The arguments that you've brought up are very powerful. That's why do a dissertation. Are you a law student?
Professional, let me tell you, me, I'm a teacher, but I dream to do law. And I read more on the law issue.
Go and do law. So
no, you can sponsor me. I'm ready.
I interact a lot with law students. And I started talking about legal topics around 2010, 2009, before Zambian lawyers were allowed to comment on the law. So I started commenting on this. One of the things is, as a lawyer, you need to think outside the box. Very, very important. Okay. So when you do that, let's come and talk about these things more. All right. Okay. Thank you. Pesi Chama, Mlet Poshan.
I just wanted to make a comment over the stealing bit, because these people have been court, and they are not being taken to. Basically, nothing is happening to them. That's my point. So my suggestion, okay, what I would say is they need to change the law in a way whereby if you find more evidence on any of these ministers who are thieves, who abakayamukoti, ikafumapi wash out, to make another law that if you find more evidence on them, you bring them back to court, like a double jeopardy type of law.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's a different issue, and we have to discuss about that particular law. And I see that you want to have the law reformed. I agree with you. Yeah. Thank you. If this is the issue with so much unprofessional in our lawyers that they did not see the consequently to be lapsed in the manner they handled this case, then I shall have no confidence in them. Why wouldn't you have confidence in them? A person has... that's why the issue is, ngole focus to hire a lawyer. In my advice, if you want to hire a lawyer, hire a lawyer, you know, you know, don't hire a lawyer chef mano sana, you know, because hire a lawyer chef mano. I can't confuse them judges, you know. And to be honest with you, judges are pragmatic. They want to resolve real practical problems. So nombanga mwabatwalira complicated things if you're covered tishane are going to say anyway, nisharandezana. So imamwema politicians ngamle for a lawyer, just go for lawyer or adingafi. Bueno, this is free advice. The Constitutional Court just interpreted a term, so say 5 years. They never said he qualifies or not. What are you talking about? So if they say that that was not a term, because the Constitutional Court never qualifies any person to be a candidate. Simple, right? Gordon Njovo. So the Constitutional Court never said that Lungu is eligible. So has the Constitutional Court said that Hichilema is eligible? Has the Constitutional Court said I'm eligible? The Constitutional Court does not say whether a particular person is eligible or not. Why? It's not the role of the Constitution to say whether I'm eligible. Why do you think that it's the role of the Constitutional Court to pronounce on Lungu's eligibility? The duty of the Constitutional Court was to tell us that according to the law, the term that existed between 2015 and 2016, apply. Number imo what you are saying is Constitutional Court yalanded firamu ikapenderako. Ero number mlefo kulando kwa ati yo Lungu twalapendera as far as Lungu is concerned. That's absurd, right? So if you my arguments, if you go at yo, Constitutional Court did not say that. It's clear here. So by Elias, what makes you think that by UPND is the solution? What makes me think that by UPND is the solution? Katuishi. I'm not saying that by UPND is the solution. You know what I know is that the PF are thieves. They need to be kicked out. It's up to you as the people of Zambia to choose. But in Nepal one day, I'm campaigning very, very hardly and strongly against the PF. That one, I'm campaigning against the PF completely. Don't vote for these thieves. Lawyers are most confused mammals in this globe. Give them a bottle of colored liquid to no, it's clear. Naimwe. Mwira leta confusion hapa jiri confusion. It's very clear. Simon Mulenga, but Mr. Lungu was elected twice. I agree with you. Number, we have a decision here that says the first term was not a term. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Muisha, can I come in?
Yes, please. Vamalunga. Alain, let me
Nengufani mkonka sana from Leranda. And You as a lawyer, I know now must understand the court here passing the judgment. And it's up to us Zambians to decide. It doesn't matter whether Lungu is eligible in 2021 or not. But what matters is to remove the PF government. I think so I'm urging all Zambian people about program. Let's not argue just for nothing. If the courts of law have passed the judgment to say no, that term from 2015 to 2016 will not be counted, let them pass that judgment and let us come and pass our judgment in the 2021 elections. If it means voting the PF out, let's vote them out because they have destroyed our country. I think that's what we're trying to say. Although other people are trying to bring up other arguments. Although we can argue for the whole night, but the judgment is final to say Lungu, that term will not be counted, which means he's eligible for 2021. And it's up to us Zambians to judge him on a ballot. I think that's my take.
Thank you. I agree.
Thank you.
I agree with you, Malunga. It's up to you Zambians to decide 2021. Mwika muvotera. Mukavotereko vambi. From the legal perspective, is Lungu eligible? From the legal perspective, yes. Okay. This is the legal perspective. Simple. Okay. From the legal perspective, Lungu will stand. Greatly appreciated. John Nijo Bande. Please school me on what constitutional provision would support Mr. Lungu stay in power for more than 10 years. Would that not create a constitutional crisis? No, actually, in Zambia, a president can actually lead for more than 10 years. That's what our constitution says. Yeah. So a person can become president and rule at least for about 13 years, close to 13 years. That's what our constitution says, right? So it's two 5-year terms, and then if they began ruling to finish off, if they were a vice president or a replacement of a vice president who started ruling 3 years before the expiry of the incumbent's tenure, then they can carry on up to about 13 years. Gift in Ngomba. The term in that judgment is useless. The new constitution doesn't talk about terms in Weba Munja. So don't say the court has already ruled. I don't know what you're talking about. Charles Ricky, Mr. Elias, what is the meaning of being elected twice? That's exactly what it means. Elected twice. So? Elected twice. It means a person being elected twice. So from that, you want to think that what? Nelson Rendo Mwenda, what is happening to you? Are you talking about me or somebody else? Zimba Grants, Bazimba, Amuti Bwanji. I think you're muted. Are you getting me? Larry Mills, tell us how this ruling can be challenged. I don't foresee, Larry, I don't see how you can challenge this ruling. Right? You go back to the Constitutional Court and ask them to look at it again between now and 2021. I'm just being practical here. It's not possible. Jumuika Julius, the judgment was final, yeah. At least on this question, it was final. Well, we all know that the president has got that influence, so we aren't surprised. The only thing we ask you to do is sit and let us do the job for you come 2021. Thank you, Bresto Sinkara. Zimba Grants, are you there? We can't get you. Can anyone else listen to Zimba Grants? No, we can't get you. Where's Mumbo? Actually, the president can rule indefinitely if he resigns every 2 years after being elected. That's not true. That's not true. I'm just being honest with you. That's not true. Brother Larry, hey, Dr. Mwetwa, we need to push all of our resources towards removing the PF government. If Yago Chistanan in Mwandin, I don't agree with it. Look, now we should be mobilizing against the PF. We have to talk about eligibility. Exactly what Sango was talking about. Okay. Munsha, the same way you are independent, if the Zambians so wish, then PF can continue all they want. Sorry. Kamdishan Vasikana. No, the PF should not continue. You need to remove them. Simon Mlenga, he held office twice, sworn in twice, meaning in 2021 is not eligible. I wish that was the case. Right? Unfortunately, this one says that that term, you are not going to count it. You Zambian youth, instead of mobilizing ourselves to remove PF government, we are spending on these useless OTOs. Yes, it's useless OTOs, actually. I agree with you. Like, look at me. I've wasted so much time talking about it. Because people are so partisan. Huh? Because you are, why should you say this? Ni Constitutional Court. All right. Saboy Imboela, well explained. Thanks, Council. Much appreciated. Hey, Mwandin, let's mobilize and remove these thieves. Instead of wasting so much time on if you're eligibility. Yeah. But why shouldn't that term be counted, Kaloza? I agree with you. Why shouldn't that term be counted? Nabasuka, 84 pages. They've explained why it should be counted. It shouldn't be counted. 84 pages. You can download it on the website. Okay. Thank you very much. Mishe Kombe. What Zambians is not a change of leadership, but a change of the mindset. The electorate also. Mishe Kombe is my friend. Mishe Kombe, Munandi, Mishe Kombe, Tuagurana. But the Kwatama politics there. Mishe, are you still PF? Inete in a PF, but Mishek what in PF? Mishek, are you still PFI? Awo Mishek boy, you never PF nshaba temwa. Vukabwala bwachiramo. Ero iwe mwena lwapula munandi. Kuli obwafya because ero ba PF bakulwapula. They are being arrested for theft. Bale beka techipesha mano mlandu wakwiba. Bale itishanya Davis mwirale itishanya tushekanshi abena lwapula beka ebaka bwalala. Ajishupa. Abdi Ahmed Mohammed, are you voting from Toronto? Do you have to fly to Z? I lost my voter's card. Advice. Yeah, you have to go. I think you have to go back and register. Yeah. I think Mufuremo I'm going to register as a voter. Abdi. Yeah. Mishe kombe akana. Mishe kombe akana te PF boy. Oh, maybe. No. I'm sorry. Mishek is not PF. Mishek is an activist. Unjerere ko we mwamai. Wamon. Ndala mwapata lungu nangu ba PF. I think, ngabamfunyapo limbikutia chinja. I think ngababika po iwe enest period. I think nkabwera nkageza ku PF nkabasupporta ngabakubika. But I think it's President Lungu. Maybe President Lungu is the problem. Because wanono ankwe balya nangwe no kuiba kuine beba bonse. Beba nangwe. You mean the decision? This is on the judiciary website. It's known as the Danny Pule case. When are you coming to Lusaka to vote? Not the internet activist. We need real votes. In Efinondera and it's not real votes. But no, I'm talking to 400 people. It's not real. Fia opobefi. Fia chave fia. Tamulia mano mfio ndechtai. Numba bantu bakavota shani kataveshi vefe bale vote. This kind of division of the people is very bad. Manwayabi. Aya kweba abantu abale funde chalo. Ukoba tawo mkwai mlegenu kufunde chalo kono mugese vote. I'm trying to educate my fellow Zambians. Muchibemba, in fact, na mchaushi. Ndebalondo rwera bwino. Nomba iwati yo, wirachitefyo. Ati kanogese mkuvota. What kind of nonsense is that? Thank you very much. We've got to end here. So on this, if you have if you have access to YouTube, like my YouTube channel on Facebook as well, like this thing, and let's keep the movement going. I'm non-partisan, but who knows? Maybe mwebene mukanji toko bati. Atisobe partisan, but in the meantime, I'm non-partisan. If you're not patakofini ukabwarara, ukwibira abantu. Yeah. Gifting on, but the eligibility is not about terms, Mr. Lawyer, so don't already rude. All right. Thank you very much. We've got to end here. God bless you and God bless our country. Thank you. If you are able to, please give me some stars. I want to see how that works. Okay? Some stars. Not just liking, stars. Send me stars. Apparently, when you send me stars, I receive money, which is pretty good. Yeah. Thank you.